You're just not getting anywhere financially? I'll exactly tell you your problem and above all, how to get ahead quickly. Wealth has levels, and every level has its own rules. Everyone can achieve the last level, and I can guarantee that you will see progress very quickly if you play by these rules. However, there are also many traps that you can fall into. Today, I'll show you where most people get stuck, what mistakes they make, and what you need to do to get up the ladder as fast as possible. Let's get into it. Level 1, survival. At this level, every day is about getting through the day. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You're constantly stressed. You don't know how you'll make it to the end of the month. Money feels like a monster chasing you, like something that's always missing, always slipping away. You might have debt. You might be ashamed of your bank account. You don't talk about money. You avoid it. You're always making sacrifices. Cheap groceries instead of healthy food. Broken screen instead of repair. Missed opportunities because you just couldn't afford it. It's not just a financial problem. It's an emotional prison. You can't breathe. You can't think long-term. You're in survival mode. How do you get out? You need to stabilize. You need a clear budget and control over your cash flow. It's not about optimizing. It's about surviving with structure. That means knowing your fixed costs, cutting toxic spending habits, getting support if necessary, taking responsibility. Even in survival, you need a plan. Even if it's just $10 saved per month, you're building momentum. Level 2, security. This is the first time you feel, I'm not constantly drowning. You've created a bit of buffer. You can breathe again. You can handle a surprise expense without panicking. You no longer feel ashamed checking your bank account. You're not free yet, but you're stable. You've got control over your spending. You might even have an emergency fund. You're building your first saving. You've dealt with, or started dealing with, your debts. You understand your income and expenses. This is where financial literacy begins. You start watching videos like this. You start reading books. You realize money isn't magic. It's a system, and that system can be learned. How do you move forward? The key is consistency. Don't fall back into chaos. Track your money every week. Save a fixed percentage. Start building an emergency fund. Maybe get a higher paying job or get that promotion you have been working for. And slowly, you shift from saving to investing. Level 3, stability. This is the first level where you say, okay, I'm doing well. You have full control over your finances. You've built your emergency fund. You might even have your first investments. You feel calm, clear, structured. Money is no longer a monster. It's a tool you've learned to use. You have goals. You're saving for a house, for your kids, or for early retirement. You've got insurance. You've negotiated your salary or got that job you've been dreaming of. You've said no to toxic expenses and yes to your future. You can afford nice things, but you don't need them to feel rich. You're not trying to impress anyone anymore. You're building a real life. How do you get to the next level? This is where you need to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an investor. You need to understand, money is not just something you earn and spend. It's something you grow. That means understanding compound interest, investing in ETFs or stocks, learning about risk and return, thinking long-term, increasing your income, and most of all, changing your identity. You're no longer someone who gets by. You're someone who builds wealth. Level 4, growth. This is where things start to click. I'm no longer a consumer. I'm an investor. I'm a capital allocator. I know how to distribute my money so it works harder for me than I work for it. You understand returns. You've made your first investments. You have a brokerage account. It's no longer a plan, it's reality. You're investing consistently. You've set up automated plans. You're putting money aside. You're thinking in years and not in weeks. Long-term thinking begins. You're earning solid money for the first time. Maybe you started your own business. Maybe you leveled up at your job, but you want more. You want more income, more options, more security, more investments, and more clarity. You want to structure your money, optimize it, get the maximum out of it. How do you reach the next level? Here's the key. Don't over-optimize. A lot of people get stuck here, obsessing over the details. ETF A or ETF B, individual stock or index fund, 10% or 15% allocation. What matters is a clear strategy, long-term goals, and a financial system that works. And yes, it's also time to start investing in yourself. Courses, coaching, education, but above all, increase your income. That's your biggest lever. If you master this level, you've built the foundation for everything that comes after. You've taken control of your life, your finances, and you can start building a life of true freedom. Level 5, freedom. At this level, you've made it. You don't have to work, you get to. It's Wednesday morning, other people are commuting. You're taking a walk. You don't look at prices when you go out to eat. You don't check the calendar when you plan a trip. You don't ask for time off. You decide. Freedom is a spectrum. For some people, that means $3,000 a month in passive income. For others, it's $10,000, $30,000 or more. It's not about the number, it's about the feeling. The feeling of not being forced to trade time for money. But with that comes a real danger, a crisis of meaning. A lot of people reach this level and suddenly ask, what do I do with my life now? What's my purpose? How do you continue? The most important thing, don't settle. This is where it gets really interesting. Now you can start asking, what do I truly want? What do I want to contribute? What legacy do I want to leave? Maybe you want to expand into real estate, private equity, philanthropy. Now it's serious. Now you're managing millions and the responsibility that comes with them. Use it. Now you've seen the levels of wealth. And maybe for the first time you see where you are. And more importantly, where you're going. Because here's the truth. Most people never reach level 4, not because they're not smart or hardworking, but because they never had a map. This video is that map. At what stage are you currently? What headwinds are you facing right now? If this video helped you to gain a new perspective in your wealth journey, please consider liking and subscribing. Your money story isn't fixed. It's just getting started. See you in the next one.